a lot of people are talking about lately. And that is, should I stay or should I go? It's such a big topic for so many people as they're moving through their spiritual evolution. And would it be more valuable for their soul to stay, or would it be more valuable for their soul to go? And in this video, let's discuss all of that. And so, how do you know? How do you know whether you should stay and keep going and keep trying and keep pushing and keep trying to change things, or whether you should go? And one of the ways that you will know is whether you feel stifled or not, whether you feel that you are being pushed down, whether you feel that you are being made smaller, whether you suddenly don't have a voice. You are concerned about triggering the other person, and so you just keep the peace. You don't say too much. You make yourself smaller. Now, if you're constantly making yourself smaller, that means you are abandoning who you really are. That means you are abandoning your true self because you're trying to keep the peace, but you're actually sabotaging your own self. You're actually not standing up to the truth of who you really are. And so that happens when we try and appease the situation and when we try and keep the peace in the situation. But instead, what we're actually doing is we are abandoning ourselves. And so if you find that you're always trying to keep your mouth shut, you're thinking about what to say before you say it, you're walking on eggshells, you're concerned about the other person's reaction, the other person is reacting defensively or in anger or in annoyance every time you speak up, then something needs to change. So you either need to have a big self-reflection and self-awareness exercise where you do absolutely speak your truth, because it could be that everything that's going on for you, the other person has no idea as to what is actually happening. So have you told, that's the first thing, have you told your partner how you really feel? Have you had the opportunity to express compassionately and in a non-emotive way how you really feel? And if you haven't done that, what I would suggest is that you write things down. So you write things down from a neutral perspective, from a perspective which is not about you've done this to me and you've done that to me and you've done this and you've done that, but instead really have a look at the timeline of your relationship. Start at the beginning when you're writing your timeline, and what was it about your partner that he did that you appreciated, that you respected, that you were grateful for? Write all those things down from the beginning of time. And then what changed? What shifted? Because what tends to happen in a relationship is that at the very, very beginning, they see us, they love us, they cherish us, and then it suddenly becomes a bit more, yeah, everyone's taking everybody else for granted. And then suddenly those little things are not happening anymore. The little things that made the difference, where you were seen, where you were adored, where you were cherished, suddenly those little things are not happening anymore. And then you start to get on each other's nerves. And so when you're writing down your timeline, write down all the good things and then all the little things that stopped happening and how this has made you feel. Because it's always about how it's made you feel as opposed to attacking the other person. I've got a question here. Because women start to try to control men, and those who refuse to be controlling are labelled abusive. Yeah, that's a good point. One of the shadow aspects of the feminine and of women is manipulation. So that is a really good point, that what tends to happen from the male perspective is the males tend to avoid and women tend to manipulate, from not necessarily from the intention of I intend to manipulate, I intend to influence, but they have unmet needs. So from the woman's perspective, she has a unmet need, and she will naturally and intuitively manipulate, and she doesn't even know that she's doing it. And then the male feels the energy of that manipulation and starts to feel annoyed and resentful, and then starts to avoid. And so, yes, you are right. Thank you for bringing that to the discussion, that it is all about being aware of your own patterns and your own behaviors, because I can tell you this, that in no relationship is one party perfect and the other party is at fault. And so, you know how sometimes when people split up and it's like, oh, who was at fault? Who was the one? It's never one person. It's never one-sided, because you don't have someone who's a hero and someone who's a villain. You know, there's no villains and victims. Really, everybody is acting from their shadow self most of the time when there is conflict in a relationship. What I got to do, Mother Nature, is real life. What I got to do, Mother Nature acts or bees in real life. Yes. And so what we need to do is, first of all, be aware of ourselves, aware of our patterns, aware of our behaviors. Now, if there is absolutely no room in the relationship to speak our truth, so that every time we speak, we're shut down, every time we speak, we're told to be quiet, then something needs to change. So you need to get real about, if nothing changes, are you really, really, really prepared to leave? Are you really? So are you prepared to do whatever it takes to move your soul to the next level, no matter what that looks like? Or are there fears? And of course, whenever there's change, there's fears. So you need to face those fears. What does this mean for you financially? Do you trust that the universe will take care of you no matter what? What does this mean in terms of your environment? Because whenever we have a situation where someone is staying in a relationship that is not positive for them, there's always a reason as to why they're staying in that relationship. Even in cases where they are being abused, there is still a reason as to why they're staying in that relationship. There is something they're getting out of it, otherwise they wouldn't be there. Even if that something is the feeling of safety, even if that something is, well, what else am I going to do, and who else am I going to have, and how am I going to move forward, and how am I going to look after my children? These are all fears that we need to face. So if you are serious about moving forward in terms of the evolution of your soul, you need to face that fear first, which is, am I prepared to leave? Am I really prepared to leave? And once you make the decision that you are prepared to leave, if that is what the best thing is for your soul, that you deserve more than that, that you are worthy, that you do have the capacity within yourself to meet your own needs, because you don't need somebody else to meet those needs for you. When you get to that point, that's when things will shift. That's when it'll either move forward together in the relationship, where you both become self-aware, where you both communicate to each other as to what's going on with you, where you listen to the other person without being defensive, because there's always two sides, at least two sides to every story. And if you're prepared to do that, then are you prepared to move forward from that point? And so a really good way to do that is to write this letter. And this letter is like a timeline. Like, at the beginning of the relationship, this is what you did, and I so appreciated that. And this is what I did. And then I noticed that you dropped off here and I dropped off here. But is there some way that together we can move forward? Because what usually happens is that, you know, people want to be loved, adored, cherished, seen. Particularly women need that from their partner. And if they're not getting that, then there's an intensity and a heaviness in the air that the partner can feel. And then he wants to avoid being around his woman, because there's always this heaviness and this intensity and this energy which makes him feel uncomfortable. And so then he avoids any discussions because it's really heavy now, or there's alcohol involved or addictions or something else. And so there's these patterns and these loops that we just keep getting ourselves into. So we need to be aware of the pattern and do something different. And the way that we do something different is that we first of all talk about it. Know that you are worthy of the most incredible love. You are worthy of being held in the most incredible way. You are worth everything that your heart desires, and never compromise and think that you're not. You absolutely are. Never compromise and think that that person is not going to meet you there. He absolutely will once you realize your own worth. I'll just read one of the comments here and respond to them. Are you free to be who you want to respectfully and not cheating or leaving the house? Are you staying home and drinking beer on the weekends if your spouse thinks it's wrong? Yeah, what are you doing? We have a daughter and $10,000 in the account at the age of 27 as a man, and she is 23 years old, and she thinks I'm all about my life and not hers. Partner won't communicate. I beg, I cry, I get called crazy, but he won't leave. So I feel emotionally neglected and stuck. So you can leave. You got to leave. So if your partner won't communicate and your partner will not come to the party and your partner is not prepared to change, we cannot hang around for somebody else's maybe, somebody else's potential, somebody else's whatever. We have to do what's right for ourselves. And so if your partner won't communicate, stop begging. Stop it. Stop begging. Because you're lowering yourself. You're making yourself small. Stop it. Stop begging. Start to accept that you do need to separate and you need to do something about it. You need to leave. If you're crying and you're begging, you're making yourself small. And you're needy and you're codependent. So you need to make changes and leave. And I know that's scary. And I say that, it sounds like it's easy to say that. It's not. I know it's really, really scary. I have left 2 long-term relationships, and it's hard. It's hard getting through that period of time. It's not easy, but what else is there? When you're in that point where you're actually begging and crying to be seen, you're worth more than that, my love. You're worth so much more than that. So you need to face your fear of whatever it is that's keeping you there and let it go, because the things are not going to make you happy. We're not going, the houses, the cars, the things, the bank account. It's not going to make you happy. You can see that you're desperately unhappy at this stage. So you need to face your fears and rise up to the truth of who you really are. And you are so much more than you think you are. You don't deserve that. You don't deserve not to be seen and not to be heard. Someone said, sounds like feminism. Well, you can label it whatever you like. I'm not saying that men are wrong and women are right. And I'm not saying that we need to watch out for men and protect women. I'm saying that both men and women have their shadow side, and both men and women are of the light. And so if that other person is not willing and prepared to do whatever it takes to communicate, to move on, then you've got to do something about it. So sometimes it is about staying in the relationship, which helps us grow. But other times it is about blessing the relationship, blessing our partner, and actually taking the stand to leave. Because only when we let go of the things that don't serve us do the things that we actually deserve at a higher dimension actually start to appear for us. So we might be at this level with our partner, and all the things that are available for us are over here at a higher level, but we can't see them yet because we're still down here. We're still down here in our tears and our fears and our doubts about ourselves. And so what we need to do is we need to let go. And once we let go, we face the fears head on, then all the things that are able to arrive in our life will meet us at the level that we are. So I hope that resonated with you. In terms of the question, I'm just going to recap. Should I stay or should I go? Be aware of your own patterns and your own avoidance issues. Write it down on a piece of paper from the beginning of your relationship till now as to what's changed. What were you previously giving your partner? What do you no longer give your partner? What were you previously receiving? What are you no longer receiving? If you still have love in your heart for your partner, there might still be an opportunity for growth for both of you. But a partnership is two-way. It's not one way. It can't be your decision and you can't hang around for someone else's potential. So communicate, speak to them. Are you both prepared to make changes? Are you both prepared to move forward in the relationship? Or are you staying out of comfort and out of fear? Because if you're staying out of comfort and out of fear, you need to change. Don't expect the other person to. You need to make the decision and you need to bless the relationship, bless the learnings, because every single relationship you've ever had, you would have had soul growth and you would have had learnings, and then move on. Let it go. And you might even be surprised that when you finally decide that you're going to go, that you've had enough, that you're not going to hang around just for fear's sake, something might switch, something might change, and you might end up staying anyway. But don't count on that. Be prepared to go. Get real with what you're really afraid of. And if you have any specific questions relating to you, please write them in the comments below. I'll be very happy to respond to every single one of them. If this video resonated with you, I'm going to be doing more daily truth drops. I'm not doing them every day, but I've been intending to do them every second day. But just come on here and subscribe and put your comments down below, because I'm here to support you and your soul's evolution to do whatever it takes to be the best of who we really are, to take our most expansive timeline and to always, 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 always choose truth and always live in truth. Sending you so much love. So much love.